And we'll find out if it records or not. There's only one way to find out, right?
Yep.
True.
Perfect. All right. So, last time we played, you guys tracked down some more leads, spoke with Millie Adams, found out a little bit more information. Not really a lot that you didn't already know regarding the cult of the Bloody Tongue and their doings here in New York City. But you did decide to bring Rebecca fully on board, the reporter from the New York Times, and with the lockbox that you found, she knows she can convince Lieutenant Poole to gather some of his people who are good cops, not corrupt cops, to raid the Juju house. If they find the ledger with the ties Captain Ronson to this, they can edge him out of any investigation that might happen. And we'll be able to kind of like put a bow on things. She's absolutely convinced that she'll be able to convince Poole of this. He's not going to question her sources as long as he gets the rests. If it takes Ronson out of the picture, so much the better. And tying the cult into all this will, at the very least, get Mr. Adams a reprieve from death row and possibly a new trial, if not exoneration. So with that, you guys were feeling pretty good about things until a cultist who had been keeping an eye on you, posing as a part of the janitorial staff in the theater, made a play for Volador, and grievously wounded him to the point where even the doctors couldn't save him. You did manage to capture that cultist as opposed to killing him, but he did commit suicide by pushing his own knife into his chest. These cultists are nothing if not fanatically devoted to their cause. Kind of goes without saying, really, but there was some debate as to whether you guys were going to go down to the basement of Juju House and see what was in that well, or whether you were going to let the cops deal with it. You finally decided that to let the police go, but not without forewarning them to go in prepared. You couldn't stress enough to Rebecca how important it was for the cops to be prepared, to bring, whatever heavy ordnance they could just in case. And she took your warnings quite seriously. But with that, we will turn it over to you guys as you decide what to do next. You know that the cult angle here in New York, you've done everything that you can. You've investigating every lead that you had. If you decide that you want to deal with either Salas or Mdari personally, that's up to you, but everything else has basically been pushed over to the proper and legal authorities to deal with. So the main things now are Elias's final wishes, to use his fortune that he had amassed to continue his investigations
Chris?
that were quite dangerous. Yes.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt you there. I just wanted to confirm one thing. I know that we had handed off the information to Rebecca.
Yep.
And I know that it's in your resume of the activities. You said, okay, this is pretty much done. We're going to leave it to the cops. However, we had wanted to talk directly to, I forget his name. His name escapes me at the moment. Our good detective friend.
Lieutenant Poole.
Lieutenant Poole, that's the one. That's correct.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to advise him. So do we want to hand wave that, or do we want to have that discussion and move on?
That's really up to you guys. Rebecca is definitely going to bring forward your concerns and your warnings?
I'm okay to just say that happened, or she took care of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm perfectly fine in either case. I just want to make sure that we are all agreed that that's happened. Because basically, we're repeating the same information that we gave to Rebecca. We're going to repeat it to Lieutenant Poole. I just don't know if he's going to turn around and say, I need more, or I need less, or why should we go in heavily armed, or whatever. But as long as you tell me that that conversation has happened, I'm happy to move on.
Yep. And actually, like during that conversation, we'll assume that you guys get together with Rebecca to work out the details with Poole. He seems to be, he kind of takes your advice seriously. He really pays attention to what Rebecca tells him. Like they have a very strong working relationship, you can tell.
And I don't know if it's a psychology role or it's something that we may or may not learn, because I know that psychology is apparently super important for everything that's intent that people are trying to keep from us. But do we have any inkling that these people believe the cultish side, or are they firmly have 2 feet in the real?
Everybody can give me a psychoanalysis roll.
Need to log in.
Oh, this should be good.
Everybody?
Everybody who would be present during this conversation with Poole.
I don't know who's being included in that.
I would expect all of us would be there, right?
Yeah, unless somebody wants to stay by themselves.
Oh my god!
Oh, look at that. Not only does Alvin make the roll, but he gets a hard success even.
Check that out. I totally hacked Foundry.
Right. So the rest of you kind of pick up on this, the fact that he does give more credence to Rebecca telling him this information than you guys telling him this information. It's not that he's dismissive towards you, but he's definitely trusts her more.
He's known her longer.
He's known her longer, and they've worked together. But Alvin, you can tell, like, when you start talking about the cult, he'll interject questions. He definitely buys into the larger organization aspect of things.
Oh, okay.
Between Dr. Lemming for all of his pseudoscience, first broached this idea up during Hilton Adams's original trial, and it was dismissed. But it's always kind of nagged at Poole that maybe there was something to this, and now he's getting outside cooperation.
Correct. Okay. So it's basically the first step to he's like the first step to uncovering, like, or looking into a conspiracy, and he's still looking at the conspiracy angle as opposed to the, oh my god, there are the dead that walk. Got it.
Exactly. But yeah, he gathers up some people. He does, like, they bring out the SWAT team for the time, as it were, right?
The brute squad.
Yeah, understanding that they may need to engage in some violence to solve this thing.
Calling in the Irish boys.
Yeah. With your hard success, you can see this like glint of excitement in Poole's eyes when he finds out about the ledger that ties Ronson into things. Like this is something that he's been, this is like the smoking gun of corruption he's been looking for a while.
That is fantastic.
To Alvin's keen sense, there is no doubt that these guys are going to do everything that they can to sign this up tight.
Fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted to. Or Alvin gives him a knowing smile, considering everything that happened and how Alvin got kicked off the force, basically for uncovering corruption. This is like icing on the cake.
Perfect. Alrighty. Other than that, is there anything else folks like to do? You do still have some leads on the things that Elias was actually looking into.
So Alvin, when we get to whatever coffee shop that we're at, we're discussing this stuff. Alvin turns to Dr. Carter and says, like, this whole thing is now. This whole thing is in your hands.
Okay. Just before we get to that discussion, I wanted to ask Rebecca or Pooh if they had any way for us to access the medical file we were looking for.
Let's see. The two of them had like kind of talked to like medical files. Which medical files in particular?
The psychological profile of the Carlisle expedition.
Dr. Houston. Yeah, his stuff is it was taken and sealed. It's supposed to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Medical Affairs Board would have them.
Do you know any legal or paralegal way to get our hand on this, even if temporarily?
They're still confidential, so Dr. Houston's heirs, his patients, a doctor showing good cause could gain access pretty easily.
If we go through one of the Carlisle expedition, descent of surviving person?
Doctor, aren't you a doctor?
Yes, but I don't think I'm a good kind of doctor for this.
I didn't know there was any other kind.
Well, there's medical doctors and there's doctors.
Wait, you're telling me you're not a doctor?
No, I'm not a doctor. That's why last time we needed a doctor, I run out and found a doctor.
But you also treated our wounds.
No, I always have been Luther that treated the wound. He has field medic training.
Isn't it a little pompous to call yourself doctor if you're not a doctor?
He is a doctor, just not that kind.
I know, but I mean,
well, like I say,
if you're like have a doctorate in engineering, do you have Dr. So-and-so?
Yeah, they actually do.
That's how that works.
I mean, I could go around and ask people to call me sir, but usually doctor goes by better.
Whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
Okay.
Maybe I should get everyone to call me captain.
I mean, it would be in your right.
But just a touch pompous.
Aren't you? You're not still a captain, are you?
I didn't lose my rank. Captain retired.
The crew admiral I had to deal with kept the title even after they took their break.
Okay.
Once an admiral,
we need access forever an admiral?
Yeah.
Well, we need to. Why do we want the records, Dr. Carter?
Yeah. The psychological records of a member of the Carlisle expedition. It was one of the most prominent lead that we had.
Yeah, there's stuff that Jackson said in his crazy note.
Okay, so let's put cards on the table here. I'm going to order another coffee. If Elias is right and this goes further, and this is something that we're pursuing, because I think we have to, because we're the only ones who know that this is around. Our objective is to dismantle the worldwide organization or the wider organization?
I think we should.
Let's start with an objective first, and then how do we reach that objective, right?
Understanding what the Carlisle expedition went through, because it's probably peril shit, from what I can understand, would be my first step.
I get that 100%. I think that the Carlisle expedition and what's going on with the Prue shit is probably one of the most important things that we need to do. I'm saying that we should align on what our objective is. Like, what are we setting out to do? Are we looking to have, how is it you put it, Captain? Conversations with people? Or are we looking to dismantle? Or are we looking to stop? Like, what are we trying to do? And then how do we go about doing that?
Right now I have three big things that I want. I was talking about this because we have Lieutenant Poole and the reporter with us. But the files are one thing to, if we want to go further with that. Meeting with the surviving Carlisle would be a thing. But those are just things that will allow us to go further. What I think we should be aiming to do is understanding what happened with the Carlisle expedition, trying to dismantle that web of cult, but more pressingly trying to get our hand on Midari Makanga, which is the last missing link we have for the cult here.
What were you saying, Miss Collins?
I was wondering if we had decided what we were doing regarding Mr. Guerrero.
Well, I suppose we'll have to have a funeral. Depends on what his family wants to do. Assuming we can find any living relatives. He's from Mexico, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Should we have our lawyer friend start making those arrangements?
It's a very good idea, Miss Collins.
He was a movie star in his country, so this will not be discreet.
All the more reason to have the lawyer take care of it.
I definitely approve this. Sorry, I jumped the gun on this. I wanted to have this talk with the lieutenant and our reporter before we moved on.
Who was it that you wanted to look into?
I wanted to see if either our reporter friend or a policeman friend had any good way for us to get our hands on the file of the psychiatrist who dealt with the member of the Carlisle expedition. And from what we have hinted in the notes we have, some member of the Carlisle expedition that are supposed to be dead might be still alive. And apparently those files hold important information on what happened.
Yeah, they said that a doctor with a reasonable excuse should be able to have easy access to it. So that's another talk with our lawyer friend. We can just hire somebody to do that.
Doctor?
Hopefully.
We would need to find a psychiatrist who would be amenable to this kind of transgressing of his vows, let's say.
Money makes a lot of things acceptable.
Yeah, you just need to find the right person to hand the money to.
New York is a wretched hive of skull and villainy, so.
Remember that black book of his? Kind of alluded that he can get a hold of just about anyone to do just about anything. If nothing else, it's worth a shot.
I just wanted to use our leverage before we dispatch them on other things. But before we look at those files, we might want to be looking into the Eldiver and trying to see if we can find any clue to try to find Madari Mukanga. Maybe go check up the Fat Mabel to get our hand on him before he flees when the cults get what's coming.
I'd love to see some of those cultists' face when they get one coming.
But if this Madari Mukanga was the one giving order to the owner of the Juju house, he might be a higher up. He might be more responsible for what happened than others if he gave the order.
Well, even if we find them, they won't talk. We've had one kill himself. Another one bit his tongue off, so he wouldn't say anything. Finding them, all it does is it lets us shoot them.
Is that, from what we heard, I don't think this one is going to be with the cult. Like, if the police get her hand on most of the cult, I think he's, like, on the side of it. He's still very much responsible for what happened. If Madari was the one giving Silas order, I think we ought to get our hand on him. Or at least find him and give full direction to get to him.
Do we have anything, any lead that would take us elsewhere?
No.
Specifically, because I know that Evelyn, or Miss Collins, excuse me, sorry, I mean Miss Collins, suggested that there are cells of this all over there are groups like this all over the world, and we want to get at these people.
Yeah.
The world is a big place. We need a place to go. If we don't have a place to go, Madari Mukanga might lead us to that place. So that I see as an avenue to go after Mukanga.
Madari Mukanga could lead us elsewhere, but also what we find on the Carlisle expedition might lead us elsewhere. For the Carlisle expedition, we do need the files. We would probably need to speak with his sister. And I would like to go to Arkham to speak with the Australian gentleman, the doctors who was making conference that Elias was interested in, to try to have a more thorough talk about what his expose was about. Maybe that can give us information on what to look for. That's what I have right now.
Anyone else want to add to that pile?
Well, there's the Carlisle safe. In Elias's letter, he mentioned there's books in there.
Where is that safe?
At his sister's, I think.
It all depends on if his sister is open to talking or not.
Yes, the Carlisle estate is in Westchester, which is north of New York.
And is that in the same direction as Arkham?
Arkham is in Massachusetts, so no.
That's two different.
Yeah. But Westchester is like an hour by car away from New York.
Oh, okay.
But we could do two birds with one stone here, right? If we can get the sister on our side, then she can request those documents from the doctor, and we can get access to the safe.
I think the doctor would be the secondary option if we cannot have that discussion with her.
Right. And as far as this Mandari fellow, do we know where he is? If you want me to go talk to him, I'd be more than happy to take Salvatore and go have a conversation.
My theory was to go see the Eldiver, because from what we heard, they saw him talk with Silas. They might have clues on where to get our hands on him. Or from what we know, his base of operation might be the Fat Mabel. It's one of the establishment we visited earlier this week. We can either go talk with the L driver, see where they point us to, or just go rummaging around at the Fat Mabel. Problem is, there probably are more cultists at the Fat Mabel.
If I were to treat this as a case, and I had to go find someone, the next conspirator, I'd be looking for someone to lead me to that conspirator. So all these are different little points of leads. But considering the cops are about to come down, and I don't know when they're going to come down, but they're going to come down on the cultists, my expectation is Makanga to try to get out and to contact another group. So even if we just tail him, he'll take us to where we need to go.
Thing is, if we tail him like it's Dinah, because we have some piece of matches from a bar in China from Elias Things, so it might be over there.
Yeah, but China, I don't know if you know, but I hear China's a big place.
Yeah, my point is, there's still things to be done around here.
I'm not saying there isn't stuff to be done around here, and I'm not saying that tailing Makanga is something that could take weeks. And we can do other stuff while we're tailing him, but as soon as the pressure comes in from the cops, I think he's going to get out of here.
Well, maybe so, but I mean, there's been a trail of bodies in our wake over the last couple of weeks.
Yes, there has.
If the cops are involved at the degree they're involved now, we should keep our hands clean. We're lucky to be out of prison as it is.
Are you suggesting we don't tail Makanga?
I mean, we can get the lawyer to put a PI on him. Sure. See what they can find.
Or let the police know that he's connected in some way.
Certainly do that, but
let Lieutenant Poole take care of it.
We could give a lead on him to Lieutenant Poole so we can try to snatch him at the same time. But if we want to do that, we might want to investigate those leads a bit more so we have better pointers to give him than just go to the Fat Mabel and grab him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of investigation that we can do to understand what is happening. But I don't expect someone to take us to the door of the next group as much as Makanga can.
I think we start with the sister. I like the idea of trailing this Makanga fellow if we can. But, I mean, we're flush with cash. There's no reason we can't hire that out.
That's fair.
We know he's been talking to Silas. We just don't know exactly what their relation is.
Makanga's relationship with Silas?
Yeah. We know he has been seen, like, talking with him, possibly handing him instructions, but
I know that the Hell Divers were looking into him. They got told to stay away from him, and then anyone who got involved at that level got dead or framed for murder.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that for just about anybody. It's a lot of they would spend a lot of effort to keep this guy. So let's do that. Let's. I'm following your lead, Doctor. You're saying we go speak to the sister. We try to get access to the files, and before that, we go speak to the lawyer to do two things. One, advise our friend Guerrero's next of kin, and two, set up a tail on Makanga. Is that what I understand? Is that what we're saying?
If we need to put tails on people, we better watch out if Silas managed to escape also. since he's one of the leader.
I'd prefer not to have any of us in the way again.
That's fair. That's more than fair.
Just as a note, Silas is like a 70-year-old man
Yeah.
in a New York winter. If he goes anywhere, he's not going fast.
But, getting someone to keep eyes on him isn't a bad idea. But I don't expect that he's going to get outside this sweep that's coming.
And put the tail on Madari.
Tail on Madari. Send word to Volador's family and talk to the sister.
Do we want to talk with the Isle Diver before we send the tails on? Maybe get to know a bit more about Madari.
I think the PI will take care of that themselves, won't they, Alvin?
A competent one will.
You got a competent one that you know? Or, maybe he's got
Not
one of the
New
black
York.
ones.
If we were in Chicago, yeah.
Carlton Ramsey might know one, though. He's a lawyer. I'm sure he's had to hire a private investigator before.
He does like that book of his. That plan works for me.
Well, let's do that.
All right, perfect. So you guys are going to go meet Carlton?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Chris, do we have did Lieutenant Poole give us any indication, or Rebecca give us any indication how long the activity would take before they start rounding up those cultists?
No, they did not. In your experience, they're not going to sit on it long because they don't want a chance for people to clean up, tidy up, hide information to leak, etc.
Sure. Okay. So, in my estimation, this week?
Probably.
Or this month?
Within the next day or so.
Okay. Great. Even better.
The longer they plan, the longer the chance for something unexpected to happen.
Okay.
All right.
Like the map suicide.
Right. So you guys can easily get an appointment with Carlton. He'll make time in his schedule for you. Welcomes you all to his office, unless you would rather meet someplace else.
His office should be fine.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Chris, not to be paranoid, but we've been jumped before, and it cost the life of now 2 of my friends. Do I need to constantly be asking for spot checks because I'm looking for stuff, or is this something that you can say?
No, I assume you guys are keeping your eyes open, and I will ask for spot hidden checks. Usually if it's necessary, sometimes even if it's not necessary.
Okay. just to make us paranoid.
Just to keep us paranoid.
Yeah.
Was the meeting just now, or did we pass by the hotel? Because if we pass by the hotel, I'm gonna sober up.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely stop by the hotel. He'll it's 5:00. He'll meet you after business hours. So he'll meet you at say 7.
What time is it now?
It's just after 5.
So things are pretty much closed up.
Yes.
Okay.
Businesses do close down at around 5. That being said,
closed at 5 in New York.
Yeah, but you can definitely swing by the hotel, pick up whatever it is that you need to pick up there. But
change clothes that aren't bloody.
Yeah, change into some fresh clothes. Take a shot of liquid courage if you need. But Mr. Ramsey will meet you at 7:00. And when you arrive, it's just him and his secretary there. The rest of the staff have gone for the day. And once she ushers you into his office, she like closes the door behind her to give you guys privacy with him. I trust things are going well.
Well, the case is advancing well enough. Thing will unfold soon. I don't want to put too much on your plate, not put you in danger. But yes, things are getting closer, let's say.
Well, Jackson was a good friend, and as friends of his, I will extend you every professional courtesy, and even courtesies that are perhaps beyond the bounds of professionalism.
Once the people who wronged them are brought to justice, I can elaborate a bit more. Till then, just know that things are coming along.
Good, good. Do you have expenses that you need to invoice or anything of that nature?
Well, this being said, the greater pictures of Elias' research and real size unfold are not close to being found out, let's say. And we would need your assistance, possibly for expense, but possibly for employing someone to help us along this course.
Certainly, and he pulls out his little black book.
Did and I'm gonna name the doctor I called when we were on at the studio house. Did he call you to get his expense fulfilled?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I'm gonna give him the name of the doctor that came to our aid where we're in the street of the Juju house.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And ask him if he called him to have his expense fixed.
Yes, that has been taken care of. We will call him Dr. Henderson as a shout out to our Star Trek game.
I think he said exactly the same thing last time, and I didn't forget.
Excellent, because I couldn't find my notes.
But I remember clearly you said exactly those words.
Uh-huh.
Perfect.
I might want to keep his number on call in New York. He has been very efficient and astute.
Yes, unfortunately, his attempts were in vain.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
We'll need you to try to reach Mr. Guerrero's family in Mexico.
He's the gentleman that was with you, that the large gentleman with the mask?
Yes.
Those are not entirely accurate. Dr. Henderson did great. He got him to the hospital. I don't know what they did in the hospital.
Not enough, evidently.
We'd like to contact his family and make sure that his mask is not removed before his body is brought back to his family.
Certainly. And he's jotting down notes on a notepad, just like shorthand, do not remove mask, family Mexico, last name Guerrero. Like he's just jotting down point form notes.
I'm gonna pull out my little book and give him his address because I was corresponding with him by mail, so I have his home address.
Excellent.
Chris, Alvin's a little angry about what happened. A little angry, quote unquote. He doesn't really know where to expend that energy, right? Makonga is definitely a solution, but what about malpractice? He did get to the hospital. Yes, he was very wounded. But if I remember correctly in the session, Doctor rolled like a 96 or a 99, right? So
You want to have the poor guy sued because of a terrible dice roll? It's appropriate.
All right. So Ramsey does write down malpractice and kind of underlines it. He'll look into it.
Question mark, question mark. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And if Alvin's a little angry, Luther is fuming. He's barely talking, and when he's doing it, his teeth are clenched, and he just mad. He mad bad.
So we'd like to hire you as well to have a private investigator follow a fellow named Mdari.
Is it my understanding that you wish to avail yourself of my legal services, and thus whatever we discuss would be confidential?
That would be ideal, yes.
Excellent. Just like I do have to get you to sign some papers to that effect.
That's fine.
The billing, the billing would be put against.
That's also fine.
Yeah. We'll find a way, because I don't want it to look like I'm doing anything untoward. But we'll get the papers signed so that if anything should arise, it will be treated as confidential information.
How does that work for the group of us?
If you wish to obtain the services, simply state your intent to do so and sign the standard contract. Then whatever we say will be lawyer-client privilege.
I would like you to act as our standing attorney, as our action in the city of New York to ensure the legacy of our friend might bring some questions, and if that should happen, I would like us to represent us. Is that how it works?
Excellent. Thank you very much. And he'll get his secretary Willa to bring in like standard, I can't remember. There's an actual legal term for it, and I can't remember it.
Like
Retainer.
There's actually a retainer is what you pay. There, it seems to me there's an actual term for the agreement to hire somebody as your lawyer.
Yeah, it's like intent to something or other.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Never had to hire a lawyer.
Yeah. But yeah, so he does bring in the all the proper legal paperwork to retain his firm and him in particular as your counsel. For any of you who wish to sign it, just to get that legal protection in place.
Not a thing for today, but I'm really, like, Jaime and also Alvin, I guess, is really curious about how that works for a group, because can any one of us give the okay to do something on behalf of the group or to release information on behalf of the group, or does the group need to have like a majority to release information?
For narrative purposes, we'll say that any of you can give him permission to release things to other members of the group. Say Alvin brings something to him, you can say like, tell Salvatore this sort of thing.
Okay. What about releasing stuff to the public? Like, for example, if someone says, "Hey, so and so," and then I say, "Well, it's okay. You can talk to him because you can give him some of our information." But Miss Collins doesn't want that person to have information. So
yeah, he would verify it through the majority of the group.
Okay, majority. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
perfect. Thank you.
I mean, normally I think you would actually have to be like an organized group with like a structure.
Yeah, exactly.
But for narrative purposes.
From my experience on that kind of thing, you need to have the agreement of every member of the group. But for narrative purposes and for the year, it could be majority. But right now, I can tell you that for a group deal like that, every person represented must agree.
Oh.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure we know what the limits are. Whichever one we go, as long as we're all aware of what the limits are, it's fine. A majority vote is perfectly fine with me, in and out of character.
But yeah, so he gets all the documents like done up, gives them to Willa to file away. It's like, there. So is there anything else that I may be able to help you with? And he does give Willa the sheet of paper with like his quick notes about like finding Guerrera's family and looking into malpractice and that sort of thing. He does give her that note to get her to start working on things.
Yeah, as this Colin was mentioning, we will need you to hire a private investigator.
Oh, easily.
There is a person of interest, and we assume he's going to probably try to leave the city. Any information on him and his whereabouts once he leaves the city or while in the city is of interest to
us. Certainly, I've got a couple of people that I can rely on. I will get in touch with them, and we will get that into play.
Still to select someone that is not afraid of him leaving the country. He'll need to be followed, maybe broad. Sorry, I'm looking for my words in English.
Yeah, I'll call Gino. Gino can handle this.
It might be related to the people of the coast, so tell him to leave the spokesperson as dangerous.
Gino's a good PI. He's got good eyes on him. He knows the streets. He knows the people. Push come to shove. He's second generation Italian American, served on the front lines. He can handle himself if need be.
Oh, I'm sure of your selection. Just wanting to make sure he has all the information possible to take the appropriate measure.
Certainly, thanks.
We're also looking to find a flexible psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist. Make a luck roll.
Oh God! So much for that.
Is it the lowest or the highest luck? We are a group.
It's whoever has the lowest luck.
Yeah, mine's 39 at the moment.
37?
60.
As well.
Did you say 6?
60. 60.
Okay.
How? Holy crap.
Because he talks you guys into spending luck.
My skills are so bad. I can't spend enough luck to make them work.
That explains it then, yeah. That would do it.
Some moron put all of his points in piloting an aircraft when there's no aircraft. Because they don't exist yet.
What's Caputo's luck? Can't hear you, Mark.
The high 50s or low 60s?
Jesus Christ, it's
Holy
me.
cow.
I'm rolling luck. Carter, you have luck, right?
52.
God.
Yeah, I have a good luck stack.
Okay, so
Since we're looking for lowest, I didn't.
Can I spend luck on my luck?
No, you cannot.
No.
He's like, I don't. I'm a psychiatrist. No, no, I don't know any. Does it have to be a psychiatrist, or does it just have to be someone who
has a medical license?
Someone who could request a psychiatrist file, even if they're classified.
Shame we don't know a crooked cop.
All right.
Something that the person is dead. If the person for which the file is dead, maybe someone related to investigation, like a coroner, could actually request those files.
Okay. Do you need like an appointment with a psychiatrist?
We would need someone who would be willing to work with us to be able to consult those files on our behalf.
When he asks that question, Evelyn gives a very quick look toward Luther's hands, just to see how tightly they're clenched.
Yeah, Luther's he's not hardly paying attention to the conversation.
Vibrating with anger.
He's just waiting his turn to ask for a gun. That's all he's doing.
Yep. look at his hands to see his trigger finger twitching.
Okay. So they don't need to actually be a psychiatrist then. They just need to
have the credential.
Find some kind of semi-valid reason to request those files.
Oh, okay. That. Yeah. Okay. Jessica.
As a lawyer, how would you gain access to it, and how would you gain access to it without anybody knowing?
As a lawyer, I would go through proper court proceed and probably subpoena the records.
Right. And if you didn't need to use them in court, you just needed that information?
Well, since you are clients and privilege goes both ways, and anybody who would like to can make a law roll.
Law roll, sure. I actually have law. I actually have 40 points of law.
Wow.
Oh, come on! I actually spent points in law.
Yeah, it sounds legit.
Yeah,
I have a 5 in law. I'm just believing anything he tells me.
Yep. Sounds legit. You know, he can't provide information on you guys can't provide information on him. That's how privilege works,
Seems valid.
If I did need it to be legally admissible, hypothetically, I would simply find somebody who talks the talk and walks the walk. And Jessica's good at both of those things.
So,
lovely.
Because the files are set to be destroyed.
Oh, Dr. Houston's files?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to be destroyed, but they just never got around to it. Bureaucracy.
Good.
It could happen to be destroyed somewhere we can consult them, or just happen to...
If whoever's planning on destroying them just happens to drop them into a waste paper basket instead of a burn bin.
Well, Dr. Houston went... Dr. Houston went missing 5 years ago, then declared dead, files taken to medical affairs 3 years ago. If they've been sitting in storage and have not yet been destroyed, odds are nobody in medical affairs even remembers that they're there.
Or we'll miss them if they go missing.
Or won't miss them. Yeah, I'll get Jessie on it, and I'm sure she can get you access to them.
I think that was everything for now. The private investigator, the psychiatrist, Mr. Guerrero's family.
Sounds right.
The hospital.
The hospital, yes.
What about us?
What about us?
I mean, my friend Guerrero passed because of what he was looking into.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume that anywhere else we go, we're going to get the same reaction from the people that we're looking into. What about us?
I could use a bigger gun.
I meant like a last will and testament.
Oh. Well.
Well, I don't own anything worth shit, so.
You own your piece of the estate.
No, the estate can be used for the investigation. We don't have access to it willy-nilly. I can't buy a car with it.
Oh, if my affair are mostly in order for whatever my possessions are in England, But should something happen, there is someone I'd like you to get on board with this investigation. I'll get those information in the black book. But should something happen to me, I would like you to try to contact her to make sure my work and my memory are properly preserved. But on a more mundane affair, my line of business, my line of work is risky. So I had already most of those filed up. A couple of new adjustments will need to be made considering all of this.
I'll need to draw up something entirely.
And when we know more about what the family of Mr. Goro want to do for us, I know we have important things to do, but I would like to be present.
As would I. And that goes doubly if his next of kin would like this to happen elsewhere, back in Mexico.
I think we would ferry him back to Mexico. So we can rest with his investment. Sorry. This is right.
Counselor, I'll contact you for my affairs. I'll send you a letter. Just know to expect it.
Certainly.
On that note, I'm going to go get a drink.
Okay.
Of coffee, I'm sure.
Yes, of coffee.
Oh, would it be possible for me to ask if the assistant could bring us tea?
Sorry, if she could bring what?
Tea.
Certainly.
I want to overreach, but
yeah, so like over the next hour or so, like he gets all the paperwork drawn up for anything that you guys may need. He makes a couple of phone calls to Jessica and to Gino. Gets them onto things. You get the feeling from the way he talks to Jessica. Jessica is not even remotely a psychiatrist at all.
Con artist.
Brilliant actor.
She is 100% a con artist and a forger.
My kind of lawyer.
Yeah, you get the feeling like, I mean, he's a good lawyer, but he's
which means he's a good lawyer.
He's a neutral lawyer.
Yeah.
Good lawyers. Good lawyers are quote unquote good lawyers, not good people.
Right. But yeah, so he gets Gino, passes on the information that he has on Umdari, stresses that he is a dangerous individual, and just watch him, see what turns up. A couple of times, no. Okay, if you need to, no. If you really need to, that sort of thing. Kind of like laying out the parameters for the tale. And he, while you guys are there, while he gets this, because he wants to make sure that you guys have everything that you need before you leave. So he'll let you know that, around like 9 o'clock, like late by New York business standards, Jessica has managed to pull some strings to get access to the files, basically claiming that she is, related to Dr. Houston. She's getting paperwork done up, So she's not playing the psychiatrist angle. She's playing the family angle. But yeah, all of those things are in order.
I'm looking for what Captain Luther was looking for. We might be better looking that up for ourselves. Might not be something we want to put on the black book.
What, guns are legal?
I'm sure anything we need can be filed under miscellaneous.
All depends material.
All right. So Luther, you can give me a luck roll.
Well, I should.
Oof.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
So what sort of gun were you looking for?
I don't know the system. I just want the best
Oh,
pistol.
that's right.
A pistol? Okay.
I thought you were going to say the biggest.
No, I was the one looking for a shotgun.
Whatever the best, mechanically the best firearm for the
Yeah,
handgun
do a
skill.
quick lay.
That's legal. It might be the 38. I don't know.
Let's see. Pull up a quick look. Oh, he can get you.
Are shotguns considered hunting weapon in America?
They are.
It should not be too hard to find.
So yeah, he can track down a 45 automatic is actually available in 1920.
Really?
Nice.
Damn Germans.
Conveniently, I actually have one statted up already.
What kind
Why?
of weapon was that again?
Pardon?
45 automatic?
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Evelyn will spend the time writing out her will.
Okay.
And then she'll get Dr. Carter to witness it.
You want me to what?
Witness it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So she drives a car and puts silver on her face. Witness me.
Chrome.
Whoever say.
Shiny and chrome.
There you go.
Might be one of my favorite movies.
Right. Is there anything else of the illegal variety that you're getting Carlton to find for you?
I'm gonna look for a shotgun and have it sawn off, but I don't think I'm gonna pass by him. Doesn't seem like the thing.
Yeah. Basically, when he contacts Gino to come and basically get the particulars for the tailing, he's like, Gino comes with like an old military canvas duffel bag. And basically just like tosses a 45 over to Luther, tosses the shotgun over to Dr. Carter.
Perfect.
And Gino looks like the sort of guy when you think like, second generation Italian American PI fought in World War I, whatever image comes to your mind, that's what he looks like.
Got the same eyes that Luther does.
Yep.
Do you mind if I do some adjustments?
Yep. Gino, though, will stop momentarily to get Salvatore's autograph.
I give him a big grin and I sign it happily. Do I make it out to someone specific?
Yes. Give me one sec. Find Gino's actual name.
If only there were selfies and cameras back then where you can do a selfie.
Well, if you
for his
want
mom.
a picture,
Yeah. Yeah.
Alvin always carries
Oh.
a camera. He just apparently can't shoot.
A picture would be great. Thank you. Gino Fabri.
For his mom this time.
I'll happily sign it, and if he actually wants a picture, I'll pose for a picture. Sure, why not?
Perfect. Alvin can give me a photography roll.
Can I actually make a photography roll? Is the question that everyone has on their. Oops, that's charm.
We won't know if it's a crap photo for a few days anyway. Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that. An amazing shot.
The world's first Polaroid.
I mean, you'll have to like develop it and all of that fun stuff, but the picture itself is astounding. Could like hang in a gallery even.
Very nice. It's very nice. No, I'm joking.
All right. But yes, so the rest of the evening is busy done like with, paperwork and filling out wills and getting the weapons and getting everything in place.
Was the shotgun already thought up, or did you sign on me modifying it?
No, Gino's like, I'd side off if you like it. I mean, personally, I prefer
I just asked if you didn't mind. You just asked if you didn't mind me modifying it. I didn't talk about it.
Go ahead, it's yours.
I appreciate it.
I mean, I like to shoot my enemies at range, but you do you.
I'll also prefer to shoot at range, but a rifle in New York might be more ubiquitous. Like, I don't see myself walking in New York with a rifle. But as soon as we're out in the bush, I'm back to a rifle.
Or even a small town. I mean, I remember in high school,
Now I get
like
it.
some guys would drive to high school with a rifle
So
in the
you
back of their
saved
truck.
many lives.
Yeah, but I mean, that was in the 80s.
So it's probably worse in the 20s, right?
Yeah, the 80s in rural New Brunswick.
Sounds like the 20s.
And I'm not very knowledgeable about guns, but I assume, out of game I'm not very knowledgeable, but I assume a slug can go quite far.
Not if it's sawed off.
Oh yeah, obviously. I was just thinking of the shotgun as not especially mid-range if you use a slug, but yeah, if it's sawed off, it makes some more full quarters, let's say.
All right. And eventually, you guys head back to your hotel. Get some rest in. The night passes quietly.
It's the third hotel, if I remember well.
This is the third hotel.
With the other one, with the hotel number 0, where we never stayed, that is still rented.
But yes, no troubling dreams. Peaceful respite from what has happened. Nobody tries to sneak in and kill you in your sleep or anything of that nature.
Come down here.
Oh, that's new.
Wednesday rolls around. When you guys wake up, there's already a message waiting for you from Carlton. Basically says that Jessica has arranged everything. You just need to go to the medical affairs office and explain that you were there on behalf of Jessica Houston to retrieve Dr. Robert Houston's files. Everything has been put into place there.
I'm going to let the respectable looking people do that, because last time I got in a situation like that, people asked me for my credit roll, and that did not go well.
Aren't you the best talker?
I also have a credit rating of 20.
I'm gonna dress well, and it should go. It just go by fine, and just be nearby if I need you to fast talk them.
Yeah,
that's good.
Sure.
But usually people don't ask me questions.
Not when you wear a tie.
Exactly. I'm gonna dress up for the occasion.
Okay.
Make sure I look presentable.
Okay. Perfect.
So what's the plan for today?
We're going to see you. We're going to read those files.
Let's start with the files and we'll plan from there.
It's the only thing that we can do today that doesn't involve a train ride.
Yeah. Everything else is either we rent a car or a driver, or we rent a train. But we take a train.
We have money, but renting a train is still prohibitive.
Yeah. I was not in the right mindset. Rent was the first word that came to mind. Okay, let's get those files.
Start with the files, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the medical affairs office is at it's on Park Avenue, 61st Street, Suite 1002. There is a watchman in the lobby. There is a kind of like a receptionist. Like, can I help you?
Can you remind me, we were in the office Jessica more just before I go in?
Sorry, what was that?
Just before I go in, could you remind me it was Jessica Moore?
Jessica Houston.
Jessica Houston, so I don't fumble. Okay. No, yeah, I am here to collect the parcel in Mrs. Jessica Houston name.
Oh, just Houston. Yes, we'd waited quite a while for a next of kin for Dr. Houston. But we've gathered up what we have. You're more than welcome to it.
I'm going to get that off your end.
So this receptionist basically leads you to a storage room, and there's several boxes.
Oh, perfect. I'll get my people to get that to the car.
Very well.
I'm the people, I assume?
Yeah, I'm going to go out and there's lots of boxes. I'm going to need help.
There you go. The scruffy-looking guy who looks like the help comes in and picks up the boxes.
Perfect. And yeah, there's it's like 4 or 5 of those, like, those banker boxes.
Lots of files.
Yeah, conveniently they are kind of labeled like A to D, E to J.
Alphabetized?
They are the boxes themselves are broken down, and then the files inside are alphabetized.
The names of the people should be manageable. I'm going to thank the lady at the office. Just try to get all of that out as fast and as efficiently as I can.
Perfect. So you guys get the files, no problem at all. They are a lot of it is like useless information as you start going through it, and I'll assume everybody gets together when you're going through it.
I figure that's what
we'll bring all that back in one room and just get everybody's help to find the files and try to prune through them.
Yep. But there are files on both Roger Carlyle and Erica Carlyle.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is Erica the sister?
Erica is the sister.
Nice. We did it in the right order, guys.
Any other member of the expedition?
That was Dr. Houston himself.
Oh, Dr. Houston was a member of the expedition. Okay. Mixing things.
Yeah. So the file on Erica is very slight. It basically says the gist of it is that Dr. Houston saw her a couple of times, charged her an outrageous fee of $90 per session, basically to determine that her and her brother didn't really see eye to eye, but he believes that Erica is quite a capable young woman, despite the various troubles that she has had with her life. Very kind of like short and to the point. The file on Roger, however, is an actual handout, and I will put this into your found documents.
Sure. We're going to need to pour over this as a team. Like 5 boxes is not like.
Yep. But yeah, like I said, it is alphabetized and then by name in folders. So,
just 2 seconds here. I just want to understand something. Something that came to me.
Yep.
Is it 5 boxes on these 2 people, or 5 boxes of all his files, and there's just a smaller file of the 2 that are of interest to us?
It's all of his patient files.
Okay. I thought it was 5 boxes on Roger, and I was like, holy crap.
No. And the information on Roger gets distilled down into like not a ton of information, but you do find that he was referred to Dr. Houston by his sister. January 11th, 1918. And it basically says, like, the first note is, at his sister's insistence, Mr. Roger Vane Worthington Carlyle visited me this morning. He depreciates the importance of his state of mind, but concedes that he has had some trouble sleeping due to a recurring dream in which he hears a distant voice calling his name. Interestingly, the voice uses Mr. Carlyle's second given name, Vane, by which Mr. Carlyle admits he always thinks of himself. Carlyle moves towards the voice and has to struggle through a web-like mist in which the caller is understood to stand. The caller is a man, tall, gaunt, dark, an inverted ankh blazes on his forehead. Following the Egyptian theme, Carlyle has had no conscious interest in things Egyptian, he says. The man extends his hands to Carlyle, his palms upward. Pictured on his left palm, Carlyle discovers his own face. On the right palm, he sees an unusual misshapen pyramid. The caller then brings his hands together, and Carlyle feels himself float off the ground into space. He halts before an assemblage of monstrous figures of humans with animal limbs, with fangs and talons, or of no particular shape at all. All of them circle a pulsating ball of yellow energy, which Carlyle recognizes as another aspect of the calling man. The ball draws him in, he becomes part of it, and sees through eyes not his own. A great triangle appears in the void, its twisted symmetry of the same fashion as the vision of the pyramid. Carlyle then hears the caller say, "And become with me a god." As millions of odd shapes and forms rush into the triangle, Carlyle wakes. Carlyle does not consider this dream a nightmare, although it upsets his sleep. He says that he revels in it, and that it is a genuine calling, although my strong impression is that he actually is undecided about that. An inability to choose seems to characterize much of his life. September 18th, 1918. He calls her Mweru, Anastasia, and my priestess. He is obsessive about her, as well he might be. Exterior devotion is certainly one way to ease the tensions of megalomaniacal contradiction. She is certainly a rival to my authority. December 3rd, 1918. If I do not go, Carlyle threatens exposure. If I do go, all pretense of analysis surely will be lost. What then will be my role? But I will drop that into your... that should show up in your discovered handouts, I think.
Chris, this sounds like the psychiatrist is also falling down this hole?
But it sounds like... and you do notice, like, as the dates change, he provides less and less information in his notes. Like, he is not including everything.
Sorry, I don't see it in discovered handouts.
Number 16?
Under American? I don't see it.
Okay. There you go.
Now I see it.
Okay, perfect. It does not automatically set when I drop it into the folder. I'll have to work for that. But yes, it seems like as Houston got to know Roger more and more, he was less and less inclined to put anything down on paper.
I'm sorry, which handout was that?
Carlisle Papers, number 16.
Okay. Chris, does any of this remind us of the dreams that we have had?
No, but people can give me Cthulhu Mythos rolls.
Damn it.
In an archaeological point of view, is there a link between the Egyptian mansion figure with the staff of Kethri that we found in the
Oh, good
under the Juju
connection.
house? Because that's Egyptian too.
No direct correlation.
Okay.
And I was going to ask, the strange pyramid, I know it's not described here. I don't know if there's more data to that, but does it remind us of the pyramid that we saw, or the ziggurat that we saw in Peru?
There's no description of it. I mean, both Peru and Egypt have pyramids. They're very different. But both of them use pyramids for religious things. The fact that it's referenced to as a pyramid and not a step pyramid or a ziggurat or anything indicates that it's probably more akin to the Egyptian style.
Okay, even though the term mishappened is there, or misshaped?
Misshaped.
Misshaped, that's the word.
Yeah.
The staff was inscribed with Kethri, lend me your power, with your power flow through me, which correlate with what he said in his dream about becoming a god with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Pyramids are focal points for power, according to mythology.
I didn't get anything, but I'm drawing some links with just basic occult things.
Oh, certainly.
I was just about to ask if, now that I'm plugged back in again, if with occult I could find any kind of meaning in this dream that he keeps having.
You can certainly make an occult roll. Oof. 13. Pyramids are definitely like a focal point of power. They have great religious significance to the Egyptians and to the Incans and to the Mayans. Usually as temples. Most mythologies believe that either the pyramid serves as a way to easily contact the god of the religion, or as the actual living space of the god of the religion. Definitely, his dream doesn't sound like the dreams you guys had.
Good.
But at the same time, some of you guys struggled with the idea that perhaps this dream wasn't necessarily a dream. It wasn't your subconscious. Perhaps it was a prophetic vision. Volador certainly felt that way. And he refers to this dream as a true calling. So it's something that he believes to be real.
Alvin's going to say, it looks like he's trying to do something with Carlisle. I mean, if you look at these last two entries, he's saying she's certainly a rival to my authority, and he's talking about Anastasia and my priestess. So that means that he expects a certain amount of authority, or expects to be listened to by Carlisle?
Well, he is a psychiatrist.
And then later on, he says, C threatens exposure, which is assuming Carlisle. So he's going to expose something if he doesn't go. And all pretense of analysis. So he's saying that he's not really analyzing. He's pretending to analyze. Like he's pretending to analyze to use Carlisle. And then what will be my role? He's saying, well, so he's obviously working for someone else. Does anyone see this, or is it just me?
I think he got involved more personally with Carlisle. I don't know if it means he worked for someone else, but I think he found a kinship, like the things with the dreams that informed him of something. I think he got on with it, and he seems to be agreeing with Carlisle on some points.
Well,
and that
I see it differently. I see like he thinks that Carlisle is a tool.
he could see Carlisle as a tool for his personal agenda. I do see what you mean by his mention of his credibility means that he had ulterior motives.
Right.
I'm just not sure if the ulterior motives are personal or for someone else.
The pretense of analysis means he's pretending to psychoanalyze.
Yeah.
Yes, well, Erica
He was manipulating Carlisle to get to his objectives. I'm not sure if it was on behalf of someone else or if it was his own goal.
As a sister, if my brother were suggesting that he was going to go traipsing around the world on some expedition I didn't believe in, wasting our shared inheritance, then maybe I would hire a psychiatrist to try to talk him out of it or to make him seem unfit for it. Which I suspect is what Erica did. I think any pretense is that he was pretending to try to treat Roger in some way on behalf of Erica. But that's just my opinion, sister.
I don't have the paper close by, but where was the expedition Carlisle created gallivanting award? Was it Egyptian or was it somewhere else?
It wasn't Egypt. It was in somewhere in Africa, wasn't it? That kid they blamed an African tribe, not an Egyptian. No, it wasn't in Egypt.
I just don't have my notes so by.
Chris?
So.
All right. So the Carlisle expedition. They left from New York. They performed some research in London. Then they traveled to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
While they were in Egypt, they took a little vacation to East Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where they met their untimely
doom. Chris, do these dates mean anything? September 18th, December 3rd. Do they jive with any of the murders or whatever was happening in New York at the time? Because he was based out of New York before he left, right?
Yeah. No, this is way before that. The Carlisle expedition left New York in 1919. So
it's a year afterwards.
Yeah. So this is stuff that happened before the Carlisle expedition left.
The article from the New York Pillar was from April 4th, 1919, and that was announcing that Roger Carlisle, the Playboy, was leaving New York tomorrow to check out the tombs of Egypt.
Did he go with the doctor?
Yep, the doctor is part of the expedition.
And it looks like here he went to prevent exposure. Is literally what it says here. It says he didn't want to go, but he kind of had to. I don't know what exposure he's talking about, but that's why he went. Right? That's what we're saying.
Chris, while they're all debating this, I'm gonna there's 5 boxes and stuff.
Yep.
I'm gonna see if I could find any files around this last bit of time before he left, just to see if there's rambling shit in there.
Oh, good call. If he's losing his mind around other things.
Gotcha. Make a library use roll.
Oh, no.
Oh, I have the skill. I'm not spending that much luck.
Okay. Nothing that strikes you as rambling at all.
No degeneration of like analysis over that same kind of period of time.
No. The only thing that kind of draws your attention is most of his notes are fairly verbose. The one specific on Roger get more and more truncated the more time they spend together.
Well, that's kind of what we see at the top, right? There's
Yeah.
there's like a whole page, and then there's like 4 lines, and then 2.
Yeah, but that is only with Roger's file.
Okay, well, that tells us something.
You know what's odd?
Shit.
When you were to write notes from a session, wouldn't you normally freehand that?
I imagine he has a secretary who types things up.
So maybe that secretary was leaving stuff out, or she might know more?
Possibly. She would at least be able to say like what his demeanor was whenever they finished these meetings.
Because
he changes from referring to this calling deity as a male. But then, and that was back in January, granted. But then in September, he's referring to Emweru, Anastasia, and my priestess.
I think that's a different person.
Here's the other thing. I don't recognize. The only thing I know Anastasia is she's Russian, right? But are those 3 linked? I don't. I look over to Doctor. Like, Doctor, are these things that are bound together, or is this a person? Like, Mweru doesn't sound like Anastasia. Like, is this part of a religion or something?
I don't see historical link. So Anastasia is probably a contemporary, someone more recent that has taken the mantle of priestess instead of an historical figure.
Well, does Mweru sound like anything? To me, it sounds like the guy that we're trailing,
Dari.
Dari. But that's just because they start with the letter M. But that's the only link we have.
Yep.
Is that a legit deity, Chris, or is that Hulu thing?
Make an anthropology roll.
Does it strike anyone else as weird that there's nothing between January and September?
I mean, this whole thing is weird.
Well, yes, but really only 3 sessions?
No, there's obviously more sessions. He's just not detailing everything.
Just to be clear, the handout is a synopsis of what's in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Don't take the dates as absolute religion. Okay.
Yeah. Just so I'm not handing the players like, hey, here's 50 pages of handouts. Those 2 names definitely have the same cultural etymology. Mdari and Amaru definitely come from the same African family group.
Haha! I'm not a doctor.
We're looking at the same part of Africa, but possibly not the same. Not a specific deity that I remember, but it definitely comes from the same part of Africa.
Yeah.
Isn't there a book about those African cultures that that we were looking into? Like, that was in Boston or something that was about this? Or that I was going to say seance, but the university professor there who had a whole like talk about African cultures and stuff. Couldn't we find more information there?
It's on my list of things to do. I'm supposed to go. I said to the doctor I would go to Arkham to meet him to talk more about it. The cult he was talking about might be related. Well,
Professor Anthony Cowles?
Yeah.
Did the speech on the cult of darkness in Polynesia and the Southwest Pacific? Or are we talking about the Harvard books?
Both?
The Harvard book, we have it. It was one of the food he was looking into. But the first gentleman you mentioned was the one who gave a lecture that he wanted to attend. And I want to know more about this lecture. That might help us understand what they were looking into. But that's at Arkham University.
So if we think about what we're trying to do, this is information, but doesn't lead us to the next place, right? Does anyone see differently?
Well, this informs us that the Carlisle expedition from the start was based on probably trying to follow a dream that is probably created by something that might have something to do with Cthulhu, with Perushid. But it doesn't give us the next destination. But probably this cult and this expedition are linked.
Chris,
tell us that the sister was concerned.
She was right to be concerned.
And that's one of our next stops. So
some people will.
Speaking with her should be very informative. We just need to justify it or move.
Do we want to take these files with us? We might be able to use them to get some leverage, do some bargaining with her. Depending on.
I mean, we're not. What are we going to do otherwise? Leave them in a hotel room that we're not going to pay? I mean, they have to travel with us.
That we're not going to pay. What?
Well, I mean, a hotel. If we're leaving New York, we're not going to keep a hotel room here. Are we?
We should keep those files, and the other files, I'll have them shipped to my office. So if we ever need access to them, I'm just not going to destroy all of that.
Or we could give them to the lawyer.
Yes, for safeguard, and he can.
I'm hesitant. I mean, the lawyer is great. I'm hesitant to put information that might put his life in peril in his hands.
We're thinking about keeping the Carlisle file for the rest that I want to say accessible in some form, in case we find a link to some other of his clients that we need to set up.
Take it with us.
The Carlisle file we can take with us, but not the 5 boxes.
No, we don't need the 5 boxes there. I mean, do you need this file? And he puts up like Mary Penderton. Like, this is not.
I want the 5 boxes to be in safekeeping. So if we ever found another name that might be of interest and it's somewhere in the box, we still have the system.
Well, you still have my apartment.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think anything that's valuable that we should take with us, reference it if we need it. But I think we also need a small safe that we can carry with us. Or a locked suitcase, at least.
Should be easy enough to get.
There you go.
So what's next?
We need to find an excuse to go speak with Mrs. Carlisle.
Anyone?
Yeah, we need an excuse.
We have one. Right? Like, look at this file. The guy went crazy. She was noticing that the guy went crazy. Maybe she wants some help into. We could knock on the door, and she might be super happy to see it.
I mean, if you walked into my house and you said, "Hey, I found out I have access to your sister's confidential medical files. I think she was crazy. What do you think about that?" I don't think our conversation would go exactly the way you expect it to.
No, but if you walked into the house and said, "Hey, I think I have some information about what happened to your brother on this expedition."
And what information do we have? We know what happened before, but not during.
Well, we know there's a cult involved. And we know that he was acting erratically.
She knew that because she sent him to the psychiatrist. And the cult, well, we know that there's a cult involved. That's the people who were pinned on the murder. We're not bringing anything new. I like the idea. I want to speak to her. I want an in.
How would she possibly know about this cult that's in New York?
Well, not this cult, but there was a death cult that got blamed for their murder. Three people got killed for it, right?
There was tribesmen were killed. There was no mention of cult in the paper.
Okay, sorry, tribesmen. My mistake.
And yet, they might be alive.
No, I mean, if my brother got killed in Africa and some reputable people showed up saying they might have some information,
right?
I think I would help them.
It is that the Carlisle are a respectable family. We need something to get invited there. We'll just go ring the door.
I mean, that's how I do it, but you guys know more about this than I do.
I mean, I look into people. People normally are not happy when you start poking around their personal lives. Unless they have good cause to be. Her brother is dead. She might want to find out.
The people you look into are generally trying to hide something, though.
You think someone as wealthy as she isn't trying to hide something?
This might be lots of people trying to take advantage of them and trying to swindle them and offer them shit. And if you're wealthy and your brother disappeared, there might be plenty of people trying to take advantage of the situation. You might be wary of that. Since it's a respectable household, we could see if we can get an invitation, if we could manifest our interest of meeting more than just go knocking.
Chris?
Yep.
While this conversation's going on, Evelyn's going to look through the boxes.
Okay.
And see if she can find anything on Aubrey Penhew, on Hypatia Masters, Jack Brady. See if there's anything in there about those three as well.
Nothing.
Okay.
But as you're kind of thinking of these names and looking through the files, it does dawn on you the name Penhew. Elias had a business card from something Penhew.
Did we miss that link entirely?
Penhew was an Egyptologist.
Papers number 2, the Penhew Foundation.
Yes.
In London.
They're in London, yeah.
35 Tottenham Court Road, London.
Yeah.
That was one of the items you found in Elias's room.
Yep.
But nothing in the files on any of those names.
Okay. I mean, our next step after this, after we're done, I think would be London. if we're following Carlisle's route.
They did spend time in London.
They went to London next. The Penhew Foundation. She'll kind of ruffle through the documents that we have from Elias's room. The Penhew, there was a Penhew who went on the expedition as an Egyptologist. Aubrey. So the Penhew Foundation would be a solid lead.
I'm not a doctor of not medicine, and I definitely don't know as much as you do. But is there? Should we ask an Egyptologist about this person?
Where?
As far as Dr. Carter knows, with his exceptional archaeology role there, it's a name. It's like asking a doctor about
John.
Yeah, it's like asking about John. It's not the name of any known Egyptian deity or anything of that nature.
Like look up that name and then Barich tries to narrow down which part of Africa that came from. If I had access to a library.
With that roll that you made on your roll there, that would be like in the Kenya region.
Okay. Yeah, those names are originated from Kenya. It circles back to Kenya again.
Yeah, on our path.
Is that in East Africa? Like when the place where they got attacked? Is there a link?
Find my map here. I believe Kenya is East Africa.
Pretty sure.
Yes.
I haven't looked at a globe in a while, but
yes, Kenya is East Africa and southeast of Egypt.
Circle back to there.
Their path seems to have been New York, London, Egypt, Kenya, Singapore.
How does Singapore tie into all this?
That's where the fellows saw a member of the expedition who was theoretically dead.
So we're chasing down.
That's the matchbox we have.
Right.
Where?
So we're trying to chase down the survivors or the people who are claimed to be dead but are not.
Well,
that's one of the things we can look into, but I'm not sure if we have what to go on from there, but we do believe some of them are still alive.
Elias was certainly trying to track them down. You're very quiet, Mr. Pratt. Captain Pratt, my apologies.
Well, we're not going to go to London until we go talk to the sister, since it's a whole lot closer. So I'm waiting for you all to figure out how you're going to do that, because ringing the doorbell apparently isn't the way we're going to do that.
Well, I could offer my services, but
I mean,
not
telling her that we think her brother is still alive is definitely going to get us at least 10 seconds to talk to her.
We could send a telegram to ask for keys, possibly. If I was from here, I'd try to find a socialite that knows them and could extend an invitation.
Her friend.
But I do not know the local team.
Evelyn will go shuffling through the newspaper article.
All right.
There's a mention of a friend, Victoria Post. March 11th, 1920. Find a brother regardless of the effort needed. Ms. Carlyle had her own party, including her companion, Mrs. Victoria Post. I'll look through the files and see if there's anything on Victoria Post.
No, there is not.
Okay, just in case. I mean, Erica was fond of referring this doctor to people, so I thought, maybe.
Yep.
We could try going through Mrs. Post.
Are they the kind of people to announce the party at their house? Well, it's from the Carlisle house must not be very fond of doing party right now.
Yeah, they are 100% the sort of people that if they have a party, it is a big announcement. New York Times has entire society pages dedicated to all that stuff.
Check the today's paper just in case.
There is, in fact, an announcement that the Carlisle Estate is hosting an event for the lunar eclipse on Monday.
Today's what day?
Today is Wednesday.
Ah, there we go.
Thinking, where is this person always happening on new moons?
The murders that happened did coincide, or sorry, the abductions, not the murders. The abductions that happened occurred on the new moon, which is on Sunday.
Which is on Sunday.
Yep. The new moon is on Sunday. There's purported to be a lunar eclipse on the 26th on Monday, and Erica is hosting a party to celebrate it.
In you replace a new moon with a lunar eclipse. Occupied. We can either try to send her a message, try to see if she's willing to talk with us. We can try to go through her friend, or we can try to crash that party.
We could.
Well, I mean, we could try all of them till we find one that works.
That's true as well. I would suggest approaching through the friend. I know that's certainly how I've gotten quite a few referrals.
Is the friend a bit more accessible than she is?
Generally speaking. Friends carry their own sort of weight when making recommendations.
I do believe so. I mean, if that Veronica is harder to get a hang on than Miss Carlisle, we're not getting closer.
It's a more gentle approach.
I agree. I just mean, is he available? Is he someone we can talk to?
Well, we don't know, but we have, 4 days before this party? So,
and a reporter that we could ask, and a lawyer that we could ask, who are both well versed in the culture of New York City.
And a PI that's good at finding people.
And a PI who's good at finding people.
I mean, it's a good enough place to start, isn't it?
I mean, if the New York Times has a page dedicated to sociality, they probably have people specialize in getting invited to those things and all kind of snoop in on those people. So maybe if we talk with our journalist friend, she can plug us somewhere.
The articles don't have a byline.
Yeah, just I gotta grab a paper while you guys figure this out. Mostly because I'm gonna fill up my water. Be right back.
So yeah, generally speaking, for a society page is just like stuff off the wire, stuff off the bullpen. There's no specific reporter attached to any of it unless it's a big story.
Yeah, none of the articles that we have right now have a particular byline, other than like Reuters or AP. But the like the earlier ones about, the ones that are actually from what feel like a lifestyle section, don't have bylines.
Yep. No, it's literally somebody from the estate says
whoever was free and had a dress.
Yeah, it's not even that. Like, they're not attending the party; they're just announcing the party.
Yeah.
Like, the estate sends the invitation to the newspaper. The editor goes like, "You type this up and run it tomorrow." Mm-hmm. It's not real reporting in the slightest. It's 1925 Facebook posts.
It is 1925. That's true. Otherwise, my journalism side was going to say, well, I'm going to disagree, but...
Nope. It's the 20s.
1920s? Yeah.
But yeah, so you do have some options for approaching Erica. It's just a matter of deciding what you would like to do with it.
Do we have anyone who even approximates someone of good enough standing to attend?
You have a doctor who's a tenured professor at Oxford.
Is that high society-ish?
You have a world famous boxing champion.
That's better.
For a ladies' party?
Celebrity has a certain amount of cachet.
The closest that Alvin can contribute to this is he can use a camera, and he might dress up as a guy with a little bow tie to take pictures during the party. Like, that's as close as you're going to get for him.
I think we could ask General China if he could help us navigate the New York socialite. Maybe help us get a meeting with Veronica so she could introduce us to Mrs. Carlyle. Or we can try to navigate to get an invitation to that party. Is that I don't know either how to communicate with a friend, Veronica.
I can follow Salvatore all evening taking picture of him as he shakes people's hands. Like, I can do that.
Somebody in the background, Yorick.
I'm going to mute.
All right.
But I think our best bet is to go to the journal and ask. I don't know how to navigate the social life of New York.
Yeah, Rebecca might be able to get us in touch with whoever's going from her paper and get us an in. Or she might just have information on how we can approach Mrs. Victoria Post and get some kind of sort of leg up on how to manage her.
Talk to Miss Carlyle and ask her what she knows about her brother. Like, what information are we hoping?
There's books in the safe.
We're looking into the expedition.
And we want to convince her to let us gain access to the books in the safe. Luther, that's what you mean, right?
There is more to the what happened to his brother, and we would want to help investigate this as one of our friends was caught up in that.
So we're giving that to her. What are we getting?
More insider information about what the expedition did or was about, and possibly access to what was locked in the Carlisle vault.
Maybe some insight into why her brother was so adamant and why she had him talk to the doctor to begin with.
If he was obsessed with Anastasia, he talked about it with someone. Maybe she knows more details about whatever he was involved with.
Exactly.
Okay, that I can get behind. So how do we attend this party and set up a date with her to talk?
As I said, I think we should go through the friend.
Okay.
Yeah. And for that, I think we should go to our friend at the journal and ask her if she can help us get in contact with one or the other. I she's probably more agile with the socialite, or know someone in the journal with.
Chris, at these times for fancy events like this, is it open invite? You just need to have a nice enough suit to get it through the door? Or do you need an actual invitation?
Generally, unless your social standing is super high, you need an actual invitation.
Okay.
I suppose just breaking into the place is off the table.
Probably not our best choice. Not if we intend to.
Do you know, even if we did break into the place with her, this place has more than, it's not an apartment. It's got more than 3 rooms. Do you know where the safe is?
It's a safe. It's probably very large.
So let's find a way to get an invitation. That's what you're saying, right, Ms. Collins?
Yes.
Invitation if all else fail. If we're lucky and we can speak with one of them, if we can find a hand, one of them by speaking with our journalist, and we could get there before the party. As I hope the police will act before the new moon. But if they don't, then something might happen on the new moon, and something might happen on the. As soon as those things are done, the better.
I got $1 saying that we're going to end up knocking on the door or breaking in. But we'll try it your way first.
Yeah, that's
Somebody. We. The group. Not all.
I don't think you want me helping with any sort of break-in.
Oh, we did good on the basement there.
Well,
that $1, I'll take that $1, and I'm sure that Dr. Carter and Ms. Collins will get us through the door without breaking it.
Or knocking. All right. Well, we'll see how it plays out.
So we'll say you guys spend the rest of Wednesday basically going through all the paperwork documents, making your plans, all of that sort of stuff.
We're going with friends for a meeting. Like, just want to talk. Ask you a few questions when she has a better time.
So Thursday rolls around.
This is where you tell me the good news and everyone was arrested.
There is newspaper reports, early morning editions about raids at several places in Harlem. Front page, dangerous conspiracy unearthed, that sort of head grinding type of thing. headline grabbing sort of thing. It seems like the police, there's not a lot of information. A lot of it is hyperbole, designed to sell newspapers as opposed to any actual facts, but it's enough to indicate that the police raid did happen.
Police raid 10 places in Harlem. The 6th will shock you. More details inside.
Yeah. But needless to say, it does mean that the police and the reporters are super busy.
Do we get any word from Artel on Midari?
No word from him, because he doesn't report to you. But yes, the newspapers, everybody is like trying to get the actual story. Of course, Rebecca's got an inside leak, but the newspapers are swamped. The police precinct is a beehive of activity. There's like rumors going around about, how there were cops involved in these murders. Like chaos has happened. What would you guys like to do?
Is the socialized paper as any gossip section?
Yeah, there is a gossip section. The gossip section is, gossip. There is a small thing about there's information about the party. There's fashion show here, radio show there. Like it's full of gossip.
I'm just looking if I find any mention of Veronica, the friend of Mrs. Carlyle.
No, she is not a socialite. At least not a big enough socialite to make, it worth talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
So what would you guys like to do on Thursday?
Can we, and I don't know if there's a legitimate, other than a high society, knowing someone and knowing that we can buy tickets? It's not like a thing?
No, it's not a charity event.
Okay, I'd like to go trying to talk to people that can talk to people, degrees of separation. I like to hobnob about above my station. Try to find a concierge that could lead me to speaking to other socialites that might know someone, so I can try to get a hang of that article lady.
Okay. You can give me a let's call this a persuasion roll.
Mostly well dressed, not really persuasive, but I'm gonna try.
$14 luck to make that one.
Yeah.
How much luck do I have? I think I'm gonna luck that.
Okay.
In the meantime, Luther's literally just laying on the bed and napping in and out.
Okay.
Gotta half pay attention, but military, if you get time to sleep, you sleep.
Well, there's two things that happens. There's time to sleep and time to play cards with Alvin.
Yeah, he'll play cards with him.
Is there a use to make it hard for that roll?
No.
Okay.
But as you ask around about you can get in touch with Veronica. Veronica is not in any position to get you an invitation. It's not her party.
Not her party, but maybe if he agrees to have a talk with us, maybe she could introduce us to Mrs. Carlyle, even if it's not at the party.
That she can absolutely do.
I'm down for that. To be a proper person to speak with her. But that's my plan. Just have her introduce us to Miss Carlyle to just have a talk. Party is another thing entirely, but
yes, she can absolutely make a. You said you were a doctor?
Yeah, from Oxford.
From Oxford.
Yeah.
When would
I was brought it to New York, and I'd be very interested to be able to discuss with the Carlyle.
When would you like to meet with her? Like for lunch, for tea?
Tea would be perfect, depending on our availability.
Certainly. And she'll go off to like borrow, the phone at the the hotel where she's staying, because nobody rich in New York owns their place unless they have like an out of city place or a penthouse. But she has the concierge get in touch, and she comes back after like 20 minutes or so. And says, Erica would love to meet you for tea. She has some business interests in England she was thinking of, and she's interested in getting your opinion.
Perfect.
So they will. We'll assume because you'd probably headed out early in the morning, so tea time is usually around 2:00. And on that, she'll spend some time like talking with Dr. Carter. You get the idea. Veronica is she's the sort of society person that is a society person because she doesn't know how to do anything else. Like she was born into like lower upper class and has never had to actually do anything herself in her entire life.
It's like pigeonholed herself as being the friend of the rich, wealthy, and known people.
Exactly.
The kind of people who don't survive in zombie apocalypse movies.
Exactly. She is the professional friend.
Oh.
Hoping one day to marry somebody older and wealthier.
I would assume that Mrs. Victoria Post is married.
Oh yes, that's right. She is a Mrs.
And her name is Victoria.
Yeah.
Not Veronica.
Just
so we don't get confused later on. And the whole time, Evelyn's going to keep going, Victoria. Victoria. Victoria.
If Evelyn is willing to accompany me through all this, I most certainly welcome her help.
Because these are the circles that she normally kind of travels through.
I mean, the bumbling academic is totally a vibe, right?
Oh yeah, it totally is. It's a stereotype.
Those people usually fund my research, so I've learned to talk with them approximately. But I definitely need Evelyn's help.
Perfect. But despite the bumbling, Dr. Carter does manage to secure a tea time invitation with Evelyn.
I hand him $1.
That'll be very useful when we have to call an emergency cab to get home.
You did make it back. You did make it back.
I throw it. The $1 goes straight into the pot for the next hand. Just the way it goes. I'll give you a chance to win it back.
Betting dollars on poker? Are you crazy?
Well, you can raise. It's just that hand.
It's a couple of cents.
Good glory. Spending more than 5 cents on it, you're overpaying.
There we go.
No.
Why don't each of you give me a luck roll? Because I don't believe there's a gambling skill.
Oh, God.
All right.
We both lose.
Buck out even.
Yeah, you both come out even.
Okay, there you go.
It's deep water, just shallow water.
Perfect. But yes, you guys do have an afternoon appointment with Evelyn, or not Evelyn, with
The V
I mean,
lady.
I'll be there. Victoria.
No, Victoria got you an appointment with Erica. That's it.
Oh, Erica. Carlisle. Yes.
Is anybody doing anything in the hour or so before you need to leave?
Just getting changed and dressed for the occasion.
Rent a car and
My
get
afternoon
dressed.
dress.
Yes, Salvatore and I will probably take a trip down to where that meeting's going to take place. See if we can find a place that we could be close.
That place is like an hour outside of New York.
Oh, well, fuck that then. Luther's going to have a nap.
Okay.
We wait in the car? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I'm sure there's other places nearby. Or maybe not.
There is not. It is an estate.
Oh, we're meeting at the estate.
Oh yes.
Oh, I thought we were meeting at a restaurant or something fancy.
The estate is fancy. Just
They're not going to let all of us in there.
not even close.
The invitation is for Dr. Carter and Associates.
Okay.
Okay.
Guess I'm going to have to shave.
Yeah, like
That would be appropriate, yes.
the captain and I try to quote unquote clean up.
Okay.
I'm going to need a new shirt.
Do you
Something
know how to tie a tie?
Yes. I swear, you people.
Do you know how to fly a plane?
No, I do know how to go for afternoon tea.
I'll fly the plane, and you can tie the ties.
That sounds fine. Really? They didn't teach you how to tie a tie?
I mean, I tie a tie, but I don't. There's tie a tie and tie like a fancy tie.
I mean, I could tie a tie.
I thought you might be able to, Captain.
All right. So you guys spend time getting presentable.
Why did it feel like there were quotes around that? Was I the only one who heard the quotes around that?
Because
If needed be, I'm gonna get people to the tailor to just get people fixed up.
Because I have
I mean,
perfected.
my credit rating is 20. Like, it doesn't matter how much you clean me up. I still look like trash.
Yeah, I have managed to perfect putting like air quotes around things as I say the words.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed by that. I can hear them.
But everybody makes themselves as presentable as they can. Head out. Are you guys taking a taxi or are you taking a car?
In the time we had before that, I was looking to rent a car.
Okay, perfect. No problem. You guys can rent a car easily. And make your way to Westchester County, just north of New York City. As you drive, actually, you can see it's close but a different route, and you can look out the window and you can see Sing Sing Prison where you visited Hilton Adams. It's like in the same general area.
Nice neighborhood.
Well, that's like on the way.
Hmm.
But the mansion itself, it is an estate. It is a 3-story mansion and 5 acres of superbly kept ground. There is a 12-foot high iron fence topped with sharpened finials. There are guards. And everybody can give me a spot hidden.
Luther continues to be the paranoid one.
I mean, yeah.
Luther and Caputo. Yeah, that tracks.
It does.
Requesting the spot hidden is one of the skill I cannot get.
All right, Salvatore and Luther. Those guards at the gate, they're armed.
Not surprising.
Definitely kind of like high caliber pistols and holsters under their attire. The two of you also spot, kind of in the distance because they've already made their rounds around the front, but there are more armed men leading like basically 2 groups, kind of like one on the east wing, one on the west wing, kind of like circling on a patrol. And there's like 2 guards in each patrol, and each of the guards on the patrol also has a very large like Rottweiler on a leash.
Oh, okay.
Like there is definitely security here. But you pull up to the gatehouse. The guard kind of leans over and says, like, name and business?
Dr. Lloyd Carter, we're expected for tea.
Right. He kind of like checks a clipboard, kind of nods to the other guy. They do like a little check to make sure that there's they get you to open the trunk and so on and so forth to make sure you're not sneaking anybody in. Like they do a thorough security check before they let you onto the grounds. It's a good question. Are you guys armed?
I am.
I'm not.
I'm not.
So they do catch those of you that are armed. They will ask you to leave your weapons at the gatehouse.
Oh yeah, that's fine. He won't try to hide the fact that he's armed.
Yeah. Well, I imagine in Luther's case, it's probably like a hip holster anyway.
Yeah, he's got his 38s on his hip and probably his 44s in his jacket now. One of those.
Carrying an arsenal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he'll surrender those, no problem.
Perfect. All right, and then once they've done their security check and you've surrendered your weapons, you're free to drive up to the estate, and it is a drive because it's like a 5-acre yard sort of thing. The car kind of like winds around this path, and you can see there's like topiaries and fountains. Like there's definite money here. And at the front of the estate, there is a young woman and an older man kind of waiting for you at the front step. The woman looks like that. Give me one second. Let me find the sheet so I can let's see how old. She's 26. So not old at all. The other man, definitely older, dressed in a fine suit.
Chris,
yes,
is that kind of hair, that kind of shortish hair, odd for the era? Is is she like a rebel for the era kind of deal?
No.
Okay.
Very much not out of style.
No, Evelyn's hair isn't much longer than that.
Okay.
The gentleman introduces himself as Bradley Gray, solicitor and attorney to the Carlisle family. And Salvatore and Luther, since we've established you guys are the paranoid ones, you can see standing nearby, not really hiding. As my new favorite saying from Leverages, it's lurking, not stealth, not hiding. Is a very muscular lurking, not stalking. A very muscular gentleman, definitely armed, standing close enough to Erica that if something untoward were to happen, he would be there. And judging from the look of him, that's a guy who's had his nose broken a few times. Got the scrapes on the knuckles, all that sort of things. That's somebody who's been in brawls.
That's Erica's Salvatore.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Erica herself, she's like, she kind of just gestures vaguely at the group. It's like, Dr. Carter?
Yeah, I step a bit in the front, make a very British salutation, and present myself. Yes, I'm Dr. Lawrence Carter. Very pleased to make your acquaintance.
Chris,
yes.
I'm gonna stand like the lurker, but like if I'm doing it for Evelyn and Dr. Carter. We've been jumped several times, so I just want to be aware.
Okay. The guy lurking nearby kind of sees Alvin to kind of take up this position, kind of gives like this nod of like, I see you, like not like a eyes on, but like an acknowledgement of fellow bodyguard.
And then Salvatore is like a foot and a half taller than everybody else.
Yeah.
He is definitely lurking. Looming, maybe.
Maybe. But she leads you.
Looming, I think, is a better term.
Looming. There we go. But they do lead you inside the mansion. The doors close behind you, but not in an ominous sort of way.
Says you.
Says me.
You're in the right game.
Everything is obvious if you're paranoid enough.
That's right, and Luther is.
But it's a very well appointed place. A lot of rich woods. It's very warm. It's not sterile or anything of that nature. Like it feels welcoming. That being said, there is some extremely expensive like artwork on the walls and vases and sculptures. So it's welcoming, but at the same time, there's no denying the wealth on display. And she kind of brings you into the tea room where places are already set. She doesn't have quite the right number, so she gets some servants to kind of correct things because she didn't know how many people were coming. It's like, welcome, I suppose. I am surprised to get a request to meet with a professor from Oxford and associates.
I'm very pleased that you accepted to meet with us. As we were in visiting New York.
Yes. I'm thinking of expanding our family's business to England. So the opportunity to meet someone was certainly, it's something to pass the time at the very least.
Glad to be of assistance. My family has been established in London for the most recent time, and I have lots of tie in London. So I'd be more than glad to be of assistance in expanding your business.
Oh, excellent. We the last few years have been hard on the Carlisle family, but we're starting to get our feet back under us after Roger nearly bankrupted the business. And I believe before long we'll be able to expand.
You had misadventure with your brother.
Roger was Roger was not the best businessman, and the company was bleeding money under his stewardship. Gave me no control in financial matters. But since I've taken over, our estates are flourishing. Stockholders are happy with the direction in which things are going.
I'm very glad to hear that things have been rectifying.
They are getting better. I mean, only my brother could lose money in a munitions company during a war, but...
Mm-hmm. This is surprising.
Roger was never one for business. He liked to think he was, but I don't know why mother and father indulged him.
And from what I heard, he also took a liking into archaeology.
No. Roger would get these whims from time to time. But during one of his parties, he met this woman. Benet. Something I didn't pay much attention. Roger's involvement with an uneducated African woman was a blow to the family. She indulged him in his flights of fancy. I think Roger was quite smitten with her, but... well, I'm sure you can imagine.
His little expedition made quite the number in the academic circle. But I think he got involved with things more complicated than what he expected.
Roger was having strange dreams. Said something was calling to him, something beckoning him. Something that he had to do. He woke up screaming more often than not, but he wouldn't discuss them in any detail, not with me. But amongst my circle of friends, there was a doctor, someone who had studied Freud and Jung, Dr. Houston. So I convinced Roger to go and visit. I don't think I should have done that. I think Dr. Houston talked Roger into the expedition, perhaps with this Benet's collusion. But seeing Dr. Houston didn't help. Roger would disappear for days. turned up wild-eyed and crazed, saying that he'd been to Harlem. He said that Benet was a priestess, and she had secrets that he had to have. I had hoped that maybe this expedition to Africa would make him come to his senses, let him see that her and whatever she was telling him was just mumbo jumbo. But
I think the people who have been meeting in New York might have been manipulating him, just pushing him possibly to abuse his money to a nefarious deeds. One of my friends has been a victim of their scheme, and we have been forced to extend our visit to New York to try to get a better hold and better grip on what had happened to him. And I fear that the people who got a grip on my friend might be the same people who influenced your brother, played a show for him.
Shortly after Roger's death, there was an attempted break-in here. People tried to get into the library. Mr. Corey, and she mentions to the big guy standing guard, managed to fend them off. And since then, we've increased security. There have been no further attempts. But if Roger was involved in something unseemly, that would explain that for sure.
Well, I think his security is justified. There was a break-in at the hotel where we reside as we were looking into the affair of my friend. These people are probably dangerous.
I knew Roger had several valuable books in the library. I'm in the process of having them appraised to sell. They're of no use to me.
Might be of some help in trying to identify them.
Well, you are what are you a professor of, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm a doctor in archaeology.
Oh. Well, perhaps after tea I can show you the library and you can tell me what you think of the collection.
Sure. Maybe we can help you get those behind you.
Certainly.
If those bad elements from Harlem were looking into them, maybe the delusion are fixated on them in some way. There might be rare exemplars that most of them are not rare and valuable, are not uncommonly going together. People make idea about books nobody has read in a very long time.
Well, I would definitely be interested in getting an academic opinion on the books. Are you all from Oxford?
I'm gonna make a presentation. We actually all came to New York to see our common friend, Mr. Elias. The author. I don't know if you heard of him.
No, I don't read much.
He writes on various expeditions he's been aboard, and it was a little get together of all the members of our previous expedition with him.
I see.
Sadly, the same people who got to your brother got to him.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And especially, we have extended our visit to try to get our affair in orders and try to see any loose hand about this.
I see. Well, you're more than willing to take a look at the library. I should warn you, some of those books, I'm not sure I feel comfortable. Well, perhaps to a private collection. I glanced through one, and what I saw frightened me. It seemed to substantiate Roger's actions, dreams. I haven't looked at the others.
Well, I'll take a gander at them. We'll see. In doing most recent research on those people, I've seen some unsavory things. Some things could probably be put in the index. Maybe a private collection is not the best place for such work, and maybe selling to the university might be an option to keep those out of unsavory hand.
Well, that really depends on what sort of offer the university can make.
I'll make I'll take a look and see what we can offer. But if those are of a more polary nature, probably that private collection would be perfectly suited. Just for the more unsavory work, sometimes it's better to keep it out of impressionable mind.
So yeah, oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna try to do small talk and like justify my presence here. Talk business, talk, just make it feel like it's appropriate. We're just not there just for that. Like put some meat around the bowl.
Perfect. All right. So as you guys have tea with Erica, just from the way she guides the conversation, she does ask very pointed questions about England, including very specific questions on like tax law and legislation. She is not like an airhead, empty socialite. She is a businesswoman. Even at her young age, there's no doubt in your mind that this is a girl who, you know, paid attention to what her parents did with the company, paid attention to whatever schooling she got, and exercises it a lot.
I'm trying to be as serious as possible about the London commercial thing. Like, I really want to help her. Like,
okay, perfect.
Like, I'm not just playing the part. Like, I know I have some contacts, and maybe with my family, I can set up something.
But yes, she's more guarded about anything that might be considered a business secret than talking about her brother. She's fairly open. She tells you, you know, basically what she's already told you. She reiterates it a couple of times that, you know, she saw Roger going down this kind of dark path. And she does regret introducing him to Dr. Houston. She thinks that Dr. Houston perhaps influenced him to make this trip, to undertake this expedition. And there's some regret about her brother, but not as much as you would think.
Chris, in her kind of like description of what was going on with her brother, does she ever broach or share his delusions, as she would call them? Are we able to glean anything that he believed was true, or what he was worshiping, or what was going on there? Or did you say, oh, he was crazy, and it was always in vague terms?
It's always in vague terms, but that's because he didn't discuss his dreams with her. She just knew he would wake up screaming, talk about a dream of something calling to him, something he had to do, referring to this Benet woman as a priestess, and there were secrets that she had, but nothing specific.
That's not lining up with the Anastasia name that we had.
No, it is not.
And
But
Benu
it
was
does
her name?
line up with the priestess thing that we heard.
It does.
Yep. And Benu was her name?
That's the name that Erica knows her by, yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to note that.
But we will, I think we will call it there before you guys get into the library. But for next session, if you guys can put some serious consideration into where you want to head, because you do have information that leads you to Egypt and Kenya and London and Arkham. So if you guys decide where you would like to head to next, because we're getting to that point.
Two things. I want to go to Arkham before we leave America.
Arkham, London is what we're thinking, right, guys?
Okay,
Am I the only one who's seeing that?
And I might want to make a stop in Mexico for the yeah, that's the word.
So make a stop where?
Mexico for the funeral.
That is entirely the other side of the world.
I'm playing on the Knob City.
Yeah.
It depends on what the family wants to do, right?
Yeah. Just so
like if the family gets upset at us and doesn't want to invite us to his funeral because we're his friends who got him killed, like we're not going to end up going, right? So.
Do you know how long it takes to get to Mexico from New York in 1920s?
Like a week, 2 weeks.
Let's say London is closer for you.
It's like forever. There's no way we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I think the hope is that the books are going to give us the clue that we need to know which direction to go first. But otherwise, I think we're just following the route, weren't we?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we talked about?
Right now, I'm Arkham, then London.
Yeah. And Arkham is really just a pit stop to pick up some information you didn't get before. Luther, actually, you can give me a navigation roll.
Okay. All right. Do I have navigation? I think I do a little bit.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Oh, wow. I don't think it's worth luck to know that London's closer. Yeah, I'll spend it.
Okay. Not only is London closer, but regardless of where you go, whether you want to go to Egypt or Kenya or Nairobi, any place you want to go, you got
to go to London anyway.
You need to go to England first.
Yeah.
It is the.
My vote was for England before anyway, because I need to get back to my office and grab a few things before we go on.
Yeah. But going to Mexico will literally add like a month onto your travel.
Well, we're playing Cthulhu and there's an eclipse in like 3 days, so we're all fucked anyway. So.
I'll switch over to development mode. People can make luck rolls. Luck improvement rolls.
Points. I am getting closer to 40. Oh, no, I'm at 44. No, I'm at 37.
You're at 37 now, Alvin. All right, but we will see everybody next week for probably the end of America and the start of England.
A weird question. When that rolls over, is there like a development phase?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah. So during the travel, because you'll be traveling by boat because it's 1925. There will be an opportunity while you travel to basically train in a couple of skills depending on whether you want to travel first class or steerage. So there's a few skills that you'll be able to put some points into based off of how you wish to travel. Like if you travel first class, you can actually pick up like a rifle because you can go skeet shooting off the deck.
Oh, neat.
If you travel steerage, you get things like mechanical repair and stuff.
Alrighty, I got to take off, guys. So we will see you next week.
Perfect. Great.
Everyone,
yeah, we'll see people tomorrow for Forbidden Lands and Friday for D&D and everybody else next week.
Yeah.
Yep. Guys.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.